I'm so not prepared. But that's fine. Just glad I switched to 1080p 1080p. We can lower that bit. Make Facebook at least a little. I think I have 2 posts on Facebook saying that I'm live because I had to restart the stream for a quick moment. And so now it's a little confused. You go to my profile and there are 2 streams going. I don't think Periscope ended up succeeding, which is fine. But that's okay. I'm rusty and it's my fault. Okay. Fine by me. Let's make sure we have the latest here. While we wait for people to potentially get here. I'm gonna do party bread. Main monitor streaming. Oh good, I have it saved and it remembered. That's it. Hey Curdle Stuff. Long time no see. Yes, it's been forever. I meant to stream almost every week in lockdown, but sometimes you just don't feel like it, and then you don't feel like it the next week, and then you don't feel like it the next week. I'm gonna have to perform a magic trick here. My webcam is slightly crooked. It's bugging me. And it's because my monitor's slightly... Well, trying to make my monitor straight didn't help. So we're going to perform a little magic trick. Oh no! Don't worry, Dylan, I'm not doing anything special today. Just stuff I've already been working on. Okay, that's too crooked. And now my hotkeys don't work because I hit a browser source. Ah. Okay. That's way too much. Just needs to be a tiny amount. I also accidentally paused the music because that's what the buttons do. There we go. Let's stick with that for now. So how are you, Curdle Stuff? And Dylan, I hope SGDQ is going well in terms of I couldn't imagine doing the socials for that. Restream is the site that allows me to stream to currently Twitch, YouTube, Periscope, Steam, and Facebook at the same time. Why? Where did you see that? Because I know it appends it to the Facebook post and the YouTube description. Too quiet, isn't it? No, actually, that's fine. Assignments. That sounds exciting. I'm glad to hear you great. I'm doing well. Working from home. Still got a job. Yeah, it puts it in the Facebook and YouTube descriptions as a kind of hey, if you don't want this message in here, pay up. Which if I streamed consistently, I would. My hard drive is also working very hard right now. Ha. Yeah. How to tell your hard drive's busy? Well, this'd be a good indicator right here. I also changed my cursor this week. I learned that, no, not this one. Mouse pointer? Yeah, here. You can change the color. So I went, let's go red. Consistent with the rest of my, my look. I wanted to do the inverted one, but that one's with the longer, like, thing. Oh, you can't even see it. Oh, weird. It doesn't refresh the... It's called an SSD. Curdle stuff. My guess here is going to be that it's the search indexer. Yeah, look at that. It's going through my downloads, being like, hey! That's okay, we're not using A drive anyway. It's only what OBS is running on, it'll be fine! I promise. I don't even know if the bot is in here. I am rusty. Restream bot is in there. Botissimo isn't, so let's fix that before we continue. Yes, I am. Wrong password, apparently. No. Okay, I don't know the password. Log in with Twitch. Authorize. Enable there. Well, I was considering playing some Forza later. For sure. But I have some stuff that I've been doing for OBS. And some new features came out, or will be coming out in a new release soon, so I might as well test a few of those. Make sure they're stable, you know? Because currently... we're at 469 commits since the last version. Which requires... so, annoyingly, GitHub does this thing where it limits a diff to 250 commits. And so... you need 2 diffs to see everything. And then you don't get the whole, like... total actual number of contributors, or the total files changed, or the total additions and deletions. You have to do those stats yourself. Which my Git client does do some level of stats, but not that in depth. So you can see Jim has always been the busiest. J-Park has been pretty busy lately. That's my phone. Controllers are great. I personally own 2 Xbox One controllers. One which is the newer one, which has a headphone, like a full-size headphone jack, and you can tell they're the newer ones by the design up here. This section at the top. Essentially, this section here is only like slightly indented on the newer ones. The older ones have a completely separate section. And the benefit of these new ones is not only do they connect by the USB adapter, but they also support Bluetooth. And additionally, I do. Additionally, you can get this, the Magic NS. Oh right, I locked the focus, didn't I? The Magic NS for Switch. Essentially, this will translate the Xbox One controller to a Nintendo Switch. I've also been 3D printing stuff, so I've got this little USB drive and memory card holder. And I also bought one of those really cheap HDMI capture cards that everyone's been ordering lately. Got a nice collection here. You can see one of my USB drives ages ago got bent. But it still works, so I keep it. You'd be surprised how easy it is to look. The best way to look at it is your hands are going to be like this anyway. One thumb here, one thumb here. You're never using both sticks at the same time, unless you're doing some very specific games, and usually not for a long time. So in my opinion, let's buy it. Yeah, I use this every single day. I have a, you can see on the back here, I've replaced this piece. I actually have, I recently redid my storage here. You can see I now have drawers, which is neat. I have this box right here. And inside are 6 total controllers. I think three of them are USB controllers, just generic ones. I think 2 of them are Logitech. 3 of them are Xbox 360 controllers, and then this is one of the rip-off Xbox 360 wireless receivers. The driver for it is wonky as heck, but it works. This is one of the newer USB dongles for Xbox One controllers. I've got a full-size one that I'm actually using. And then I've got Xbox One battery covers from this controller and the other one. So I actually replaced the back piece, which you can see the red one there. And that's so that I can just charge it by placing it on the charger. Well, even if you get a standard Xbox One controller now, it'll work with the Xbox Series X, so you're fine there too. I'm going to quickly check my notes here. macOS permission dialog, thing of volume controls, custom dock title bars, and the video save dialog. Let me keep working on the video save dialog. Oh, this is a lie. Oh. Will this fix it? Yeah, that's fair enough. I'm currently on a 1080 Ti and definitely planning on upgrading at the end of the month, or early next month, I guess. But I'm also considering getting a Series X. I'm going to turn this music down a little more. And I'm going to switch to my recording save dialog branch. Apparently, I do not have it as a starred repository. Right? Oh, yeah. That's delayed. I'm gonna rebase on master so that I've got all the latest cool stuff. I mean, running at 90 Hz, I have seen Forza Horizon 3 and 4 dip below 90 FPS. They usually sit around 80-85, and Overwatch does the same thing. So, wouldn't be a bad idea for me to upgrade. My brother's on a 1060 at the moment, I think. Something like that. Alright, well, let's... Now that we're rebased, let's rebuild. When I stream, I do everything at 60 Hz, which also means lowering to 60 FPS, but I can handle that, you know? This chair is still dumb. My shoulders are a little more correct now. Oh, if I do this... Oh. Yeah. Rebuilding is a task in itself. So you can see I started this like 3 days ago, 4 days ago. And while I'm kind of happy where it is now, I would definitely like to unify the code somewhat. So if we take a look at my progress so far, currently, code looks something like this. And the thing is, I have it set to run when Remux isn't required, and after a Remux. And the problem with that is, as mentioned in this to-do here, it doesn't wait for Remux before it shows the dialogue. And Remux doesn't emit an event that I currently listen to in Window Basic Main. I have to fix that. But the general idea here is if we start recording and we unlock this guy, yep, then I drag him over here and then I stop recording. Nice little dialogue to tell you that it's saved, and then you can either go open the video file that you just recorded, or you can open the folder that it's in. Now, I did look into ways to... Recording. Oh, and my mic works too. And you can see that that had me moving it around. We're going to mute me and the music, just so that we don't run into that again. but the general... So there are a couple issues at the moment. I'm going to pull up these issues. Issue 1 is duplicated code in dialogue and Remux. So essentially, this... Well, actually, all of this is duplicated. So ideally, we won't have that duplicated. And then the second aspect is issue 2 doesn't wait for Remux to finish. Because there's no hook for it, no slot for it. So that is what we will be focusing on today. For now. I will probably switch to Forza later. I don't like what my hair is doing today, though. Alright. So we have these. We know what we're trying. We know what we're trying to do. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna load this up. Here. And you'll notice if I... Nope, indoor basic. There's a name for showing your keyboard thingy here. Screencast mode. I always forget what that's called. Yeah, so that is actually called 4 times on. It might not be a big deal that we use it. Why would you want to play Valorant, though? Got the auto remux function, so you can see that same code from before. I'm generating the input URL. And this one in particular checks if it's an AVI file, which we don't really care about. We just want to load the video. And then it sets up an output file name, and then it auto remuxes. Now here's the challenge, because the auto remux function occurs in a completely different file, which is in here. And essentially all it does is it emits a remux here, which looks like this. It has a callback, it has an update progress thing, and then when it's done, it creates a job, and when it's done, it emits a remux finish. Which, as far as I know... Why are you yelling at me? Why is this not going anywhere? Yeah, currently, only Window Remux cares about whether the remux finished. And on top of that, we don't have an easy way to check whether a remux in particular is a auto remux. Because essentially, well, technically we do. Remux finished triggers a single shot timer and closes the remux dialog because we don't want the remux dialog when remuxing. When auto remuxing. So technically, we could trigger the file dialog from here. That is an option, but that means passing something down to the window remux. I don't think this one currently doesn't care about its parent. And if we were to look in window basic main and we were to do auto remux, essentially what this does is it creates a remux object, a localized one, shows it, and then triggers auto remux. Now one option is we give this a callback. We give this guy... Actually, is the second parameter the parent? Please tell me it's the parent. Do dialogue. Ah, okay. Then we should be able to just go parent for recorded dialogue. The problem is we don't have the output path anymore, do we? Auto remux. The second parameter is out file. Out file is the second parameter of remux. Second parameter of remux. Which it doesn't do anything with in a way that's useful to us. Unless there's a latest job thing. But that shouldn't be too much of an issue because... Alright, well let's try my idea anyway. This will load the non-remuxed file, but I want to make sure my idea is sound. If I could spell to do, not Togo, to do. Togo hungry. Okay. So, we know that it closes after 3 seconds. In the meantime, I want to say that's the other way I call it. Please tell me that's the other way I call it. Oh, Ustream. Fine. OX2. And we're going to trigger this thing to freak out so that it can redirect me to this file. As expected. I have an idea. Oh, I'm even purple and everything. Neat. Okay. So we're going to comment out this guy. Yeah, I thought so. I got it right the first time. That's good. Now... Yeah, I've heard people are doing that sort of thing. Where are you imported from? Who doesn't know about it? I don't know what this dialogue is trying to get me to do, but it's not what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. Sure, and that'll solve my problem. I guess I have to. Does that magically make you happy? Please. I'm still throwing stuff together because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just hoping for the best. I'm hoping that the errors that I run into are descriptive enough for me to figure out what to do. Okay, this is a good sign. Oh, did my mic crackle? Are we okay? Oh yeah, pretty much. That's how I live my life. Throw it around, see what sticks. I'm Mr. Greggles. How's it going? I don't know if my alerts work, by the way. Did that show up before or after the remux? Because if that was after the remux, that was a very quick remux. I'm just gonna run a longer recording and move stuff around a bit. Maybe give it a bit more to work with, maybe? Sure. Okay. I'm working on this little guy right here. This is my personal task for today. I have this very long list of little things that I'd like to add. And the thing is, I don't understand the back end at all. And so I can do some UI stuff. And there are some people who are like, I wouldn't want this dialogue because I stop recording and start recording very quickly and I want to be able to just move on. And there are other people who use OBS for the first time, click stop recording, and then they don't know where the file went. So the idea here is context. So the good news is, what I just did does work. The bad news is, open file is going to open the unremuxed file. Yeah, it'll open the MKV instead of the MP4. But this is a this is a good sign. That means we were successfully able to call that code. So what I can do is we can unstage this. And that's the challenge at the moment for us, really, is new people don't know what the hell to do. We've added stuff like, if I open a blank scene collection, we've added little stuff like this here, or this dialogue here, which help, but anything you can do to make the job easier for a new person launching the program for the first time, the better. We also have this new thingy here, which is coming soon. No, not really. Actually, technically, maybe. Let me pull up. I think potentially. How much web dev experience do you have? Theoretically, you could go based on index with the. I think it's a QList widget. Let's double check. Qt Creator. I'm gonna quickly switch albums here. Yeah, organizing scenes is a pain. There are little things in sources that people don't know about that are a lot of fun. For example, you know, little things. You can do little images in there as well, or you could color code the text if you really wanted. But yeah, in general, making a custom theme in OBS is purely down to, do you know CSS, and can you adapt your CSS knowledge to Qt's version of it's called QSS, Recent Files, Here's Basic. So the scenes list is QWidget, QFrame, QAbstract, QList view. It is a QList view. Okay. So theoretically, QList view colored art. The challenge you run into with Googling stuff for designing stuff in Qt is the answers can range from you can do it in the style sheet itself to you can kind of do it in code to you can't do it at all. And in my experience, most of the time it's the last one, which is frustrating because obviously you want to be able to make everything as cool as it can be. But because of how complex everything is, data, studio, themes, this guy in here, list here, list widget, item, let's try the third one, background color, my color of preference, and then we will switch away from dark. and then back to start. Okay, so what this tells us is that the style sheet is broken from the point of where I tried to USS index. Oh, that's not what I'm looking for. It also doesn't help that the Qt documentation for this stuff is all over the place. Yeah, it's a subset of CSS, Tim. Well, a subset of CSS2? Even then, it's like really hacky. Do you think nth child exists? I bet it doesn't. Switch back to another theme. And back to the bar. Yeah, that doesn't work. That's an option. Unfortunately, there is no helpline for this. It's a whole lot of guesswork and a whole lot of Googling. And you end up with... So the accepted answer uses the code itself, which is fine. The second answer says it can also be done with style sheets, but it's generic to all items. It also doesn't help that QSS and CSS are similarly named. It's a whole lot of none of this documentation is good, and none of the stuff I'm trying to find the answers for exists. I'm not finding anything that would allow you to do it specific to each row. It's like the hackiest version of CSS I've ever seen. Because they try and throw stuff together in ways that it really wasn't designed for. And the deeper they went, the more crazy their ideas of customizing this stuff became. And eventually you just reach the point where you're like, I'm not going to... I'm not going to follow the old rules, you know? Yeah, I don't see an easy way to do it. At least not in a way that's easily Googleable. It might be possible, but honestly, there have been things that I've wanted to try and do in OBS, like this, where it's like, hey, I just want to style this in a specific way. Will you let me do that? 3 hours of Googling later, and no, I can't find anything related to what I'm trying to do. And that usually happens after I've already spent an hour and a half prepping for the step that I'm up to. And it's the one step that you get stuck on and you're like, okay, I give up, this doesn't work. Next one. And like, it sucks. Like, I'm a web developer, right? And for work, I use Bootstrap. Bootstrap's fantastic if you just want a baseline to start with. But the cool things they have, one of these are, so you've got tooltips, right? Everyone's seen a tooltip like this. These are great. Qt supports tooltips, but they're like, I need a tooltip. Why am I in a position where nothing has a tooltip? I'm just trying to think of something that does. Browser, do you have a tooltip? No. Why do we have so few? Yeah. So the only tooltips Qt supports look like this, right? Which means if I want to do something cooler, like another tooltip for the popover, something like this, where it has a title and some text, you can do that in WebDev very easily. If you want to do it in Qt, you have to basically write it from scratch. And no one has already done that for you. Okay, what I'm seeing here is that my alerts are definitely not working. I got that email for that follow, Dust, so thanks for that. If it doesn't show up in a sec, I will reload it and hope for the best. But I don't think my Twitch connection actually works anymore, which is a possibility. Because I haven't used... Oh. Alright, let's just reload that and see if that helps. I haven't streamed in like 5 months, so... Yeah, I used to watch her stream a lot. Yeah. I used to be a mod for, Lauren Evans 23 or Dolphin Trainer, and she streamed often. My alert provider is not working. It's not promising. Just says past sessions and nothing recent. I might have to disconnect and reconnect that later. So yeah, I wanted to do like a popover thing, but it doesn't support that. And the other weird thing with tooltips in Qt is that they don't have maximum widths. You have to add your own line breaks, otherwise it just continues off the screen because it doesn't care. Yeah. Now, I was finishing off this guy. What I'm thinking is remote this guy is I might trigger this before the close. No, I don't like that. We'll leave that there for now and figure it out later. But it's not just CSS, it's HTML as well, and technically I could do... I don't know, actually, do they? Qt tooltip HTML. Because the weird thing is, Qt does support HTML in Q strings. using tiny HTML subset by rich text engine. So technically tooltips do support colored text. Alright, we have to test this now. I'm going to quickly commit what I've done so far. We can discard this guy. And we can stage that for now. I'll switch back to master so I'm working with a clean slate. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to the volume control, because that's an easy place. Q icon, Q map. No, okay. Oh, there we go. It worked. Thanks for the follow, Mr. Greggles and Dust. Welcome to the order. There's the other one. It does work. It's just like 15 minutes delayed. That's fine. I didn't have to manually reconnect anything though, which is nice. I just need something that's programmatically generated that I can add stuff to. I just need something. And half this stuff. Okay, you know what? Let's just grab an existing tooltip. What do we have? Hotkey edit, push button, transitions. Yes, maybe no. I don't think that's a good idea. Tray icon tool. Pause button tool. Yeah, let's do it on the pause button. Okay. So if we do pause, set tooltip, Q string, no, Q string. And then we're going to do two things. We're going to do some bold stuff. Add a line break. And we're going to comment that out. Alright, fingers crossed. So, bold, new line, standard text. And that'll just go on the pause button. Fingers crossed. And if it does work, then the second challenge we run into is that most of the tooltips... What did I do? Oh. You know, I'm too used to the to how little JavaScript cares about formatting and style. Okay, it loaded. That's a good sign. I'm gonna pause the recording. That does look bold to me. So this is a good sign. Now, most of our tooltips in OBS don't... they are designed to follow the cursor and only show up when the cursor is over something. So the next proof of concept would be to... is to look at the Q... it's 4.8. Fine. I have used TypeScript, and with the month that I spent with it, I ended up coming up to the conclusion that while TypeScript is cool, I personally don't see it useful or as useful in the front end, I think it's more useful for the back end. And the thing is, I'm a front end developer. It does have its benefits that I can supplement using JSDoc, ESLint, and React. What are they called? What's the thing called? Prop types. And prop types basically works very similar to one aspect of TypeScript. Of course, it won't crash the whole app if it's incorrect, and it won't warn you during compile time. It'll warn. Well, actually, it can warn you during compile time if it has enough info, but it'll complain to you at runtime that the types don't match. Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, I don't like React too much. I've spent 3 years with it, and like I can see where it does cool things, but I most recently started working with React hooks, and the annoying thing I ran into was that React hooks are really dumb in the sense that they have to always run in the same order, which means you can't use them in loops. Which means if you want to do any kind of state thing in an array, you have to have a parent class anyway. And it's like, well, I was hoping to have everything isolated and split up nicely, but I guess I have to combine it all back into one thing. Okay, so... yes, so we can make a Q tooltip. We can set the text, its position, and its size and shape. So it is possible with a Q tooltip, but are they clickable? Can you interact with it? Because in this example, we would need to be able to close it. And if we can't click on it to close it, then at that point, why not just use a floating Q label, or a Q widget with a Q label in it, so that I have the full control of building my own element, and at that stage I'm building my own element anyway. What do we have? Short piece of text. New help event. Angular. When I originally messed with Angular, so my first job was mostly HTML and jQuery, and CSS, of course. And near the end of that first job, I ended up having a little side project where I used Angular. And I found Angular to be cool in certain ways, and I was able to learn my way around it and make a proof of concept in 2 weeks. And then after that I did React, and most recently I've played around with Vue. And overall, of the 3, I would go with Vue for my next project. I'd say it is, yeah. That is not a folder. Oh, I see what happened. Oh, did it again. So very, very basic example of view that I was working with is you have your app, you have the HTML style template at the top, and I'm just gonna make this easier to read. They've got your template at the top, a script section for all of your JavaScript, and the style at the bottom. Or at least that's the most common way I've seen it used. And then say you're working with a form, which in this case I'm using Bootstrap View. And you have your HTML template at the top, which is fine. And then in your default export you have stuff like the data, which in this case is the default form values. Yeah, I don't use Redux. There have been times where I've gone, Redux seems like something I need. And I ended up instead using React Context. Because essentially what React Context allows you to do is you have a a context provider that is at the top level. Like at the very top level. And then whenever you need something from that context, say in my example, I have a permission system. And when you log in, I make an API call to get the user's permissions, and then I need a way to access those permissions in various locations. The context does the API call and stores the information, and then in any child component, you use the, not the provider, the consumer. And the consumer will basically, it doesn't have to be top level. You can have multiple, as with any JavaScript object really. You can have it at any level. My example is top level. But that way you're not passing it as a prop through every single component. In this case, only the elements that need it have to have a parent consumer. And so that consumer has access to that parent context. And you can have multiple contexts. You can have, you can mix and match any combination of providers and consumers in the situations where you need them. Essentially, the way it ends up working, do we have a full example? Yeah, so you have the provider. And then further down you have the consumer, which receives any items that you pass down from it. So in this example, it passes down the theme. Let me switch to this. The theme and a function to switch the theme. So then, no matter how far down you are, you have the theme consumer. The consumer will pass both of those as props to that final element that will, in this case, give you information about the current one and also switch it. It seems really powerful and means you don't have to use Redux. I haven't used it enough to build up enough of an opinion on it to be like, this is the savior of everything. But it does mean that I don't have to pass the same prop everywhere. Now, in the case of permissions in my particular app, I do need the permissions prop in every level, so this doesn't come in useful. But right now I'm actually in the process of implementing it for a filters system. So you know how, for example, let's pull up shop. And say you're looking for an Elgato whatever. These filters along the left side. My system uses filters very heavily, and I need a way to be able to use the same context in a number of locations, and React isn't designed in a way where you can have multiple render functions for one class, at least not in a way that's React friendly. So something like a React provider, React context allows me to have providers in certain locations, say along the top where you might have a summary of the active filters, and then further down the page where it actually provides a sidebar that you open that's overlaid on top. And both of them can access the same context and control the same context from different locations, and they can be fully disconnected, but they still follow the React life cycle events. So yeah, this can technically be done with a Q tooltip just without the ability to click on it. I'll have to play around with that then, because that could be very, very useful. But at least we know that works, right? Interesting that the Remux dialog waits 3 seconds before closing itself. I wonder why 3 seconds. And if it's only for auto Remux, or if standard Remux waits 3 seconds as well. To make it seem like it's doing more than it is, because Remux can be very quick for very short files. Of course, it can take a while for really long files, like, say, a 6-hour stream, but... Alright, let's discard my changes here. And we'll switch back to my branch. And then I'm going to check. Yeah, that's the only place where it waits for auto Remux. And CG added that 3 years ago. No worries. There's always so much to know, and I said the same thing when I taught Knackers about the ability to right-click in the Windows sound control panel to switch between percent and decibels. There's so much to know in the land of streaming, and programming is another great example. You can learn everything you know about one library like React and miss out on so much that's part of just standard JavaScript. Same goes for TypeScript, really. Or in this case, learn everything there is to know about QSS, and now you know a bit of CSS, but not in a way that's useful. Front-end work is fun. The only time it's not fun is when you don't have a designer to actually give you stuff to figure out. Like in my case, I'm a developer. I have no design skills whatsoever. I can throw something together, you know, in the situations where a designer isn't available. But I would much prefer a designer actually make something, and I just implement it. I can provide feedback and tell you, hey, here's how it's bad. Yeah. We have one client in Japan, and in Japan they heavily use IE11. So I still have to make sure stuff is compatible with IE11. You'd be surprised the kind of weird edge stuff that IE11 doesn't support. And I ended up making a Node.js server with Node Canvas. And essentially it grabs a color and an image, slaps them together to change the color of the image, and then returns that as a PNG that can then be consumed by Google Maps. Because the particular CSS that I'm using to change the color of the pin does not work in IE11. So we have this extra Node server running in the background. I mean, this is on an environment that has like 8 different Docker images running each of our servers, a gateway in the front end. So it's not a big deal to run one extra little Node server that's looking in a subdirectory of a subdirectory for a call to an image, but it's fantastic. It does work. It's... Originally, I think so. And then I think we're just using AWS. I'm the front-end guy, so I don't know the details. I just know it's something on AWS. So we have this now successfully displaying a thing when the remux completes, but what we don't have is the target. So here's what I'm going to do. Window remux. Auto remux file is the in file. We don't have... The only time when the auto remux file is set. I'm just gonna make my own. I don't care. The cleanest way I can think of doing it without... Like, if you're just gonna pass it through anyway, and you're not gonna give me access... Like, I wonder... Yeah, Remux Finish doesn't have any of that info. No other situation that gets used. So now that gives us an incoming file, an outgoing file. I do still have to add a system setting to disable this. It will be on by default, but you can turn it off, of course. It's just to figure out where in the settings we're going to put this dialog. And now we wait. My cat has now tried to break in twice. Okay. I think it would just be under output, wouldn't it? Ooh, this song's great. ENUS Share confirmation dialog. Basic settings. General. Me? Nah. 50 megabit. I might bump to 100 megabit, but my link speed is only 107, so I wouldn't be getting the full 100 down, 50 up from it. General. What's the wording that I need to use here? Show dialogue when recording is finished. When sure. When recording is complete. Yeah, complete's probably better. Go with complete for now, and we can always tweak it later. We're also going to have to bump all of these guys. What I do like about Qt is it has a bit of XML, it has a bit of CSS-ish. It supports bare bones basic HTML. So I'm not completely lost when I'm doing this stuff. Okay. So now we have that. And then we're going to go to Window Basic Settings. And in this case, no, Window Basic Settings headers first. Because we need to check no, it's just the actual code file. That's fine. Oh no. All of these variables are shorter than the one I came up with, so I'm shortening mine. Recording done. I don't care. Okay, so we've done that one. That's where that goes. This is the actually checking the setting. And what we're also going to do is... So you know what's confusing here? I have a global search that is highlighted, and a local file search that is also highlighted, and they're both the same color. And then we're going to set the default. Is this the default? No, this is updating the setting. I didn't rename this. It's gonna be inconsistent, but I know what I'm looking for, so it's fine. And finally, set default. Default. I do know there's a section where it sets default settings. It's not in here though. It's in OBS app. Init global config defaults. Oh no! Oh, hello! Welcome, raiders! Thanks for the raid, Tom. The notification will show up eventually. My alerts are a bit delayed today. I haven't tracked down the cause. Hope your stream went well. Stream's going well. We've had a couple tangents so far, but overall things are going well. OBS is separate from Streamlabs. We were first, and they're using our core to make their own program. Let's see if my newly added setting... No, it didn't appear. What I need to do is I need to tell it that I changed stuff. And to do that, I will just yell at it like this. Awesome. Glad to hear it. Well, my alert provider isn't one of the big ones. And I don't know why it's slow today. That's still not showing what I'm... Did I maybe get the indexes wrong? Anyway, the thing we're working on today, for those curious, is currently, when you stop recording, if you're new to OBS, you don't know where the recording went. Well, I'm adding this thing that will tell you where it went. This is the shirt we had at TwitchCon. We had a booth, which Nvidia sponsored, and each of us got one of these cool shirts. Well, actually two shirts each. And then you click open file, and ideally, aha, it did open the MP4. In this case, I remuxed the file automatically once the recording was done, and now we have a file. Basically, I got the idea for this dialogue from Movie Maker. Oh, there we go. Okay, we've got a follow. Why you guys gotta have complicated names? Yeah, recording little stuff like this is what we want to kind of improve, where if you're new to OBS, you have no idea where your recording went. Because that is the language it was originally written in. Jim, the main developer, and actually let's pull up some quick stats. Repository stats. This big chunk of the pie is Jim. Jim is the core developer. He's the only one that works on this stuff full time, and he knows C and C++, so that's the language he chose. Yes, he is. He's a madman. A very good way to put it. But you can see he's doing stuff all the time. I'm in Melbourne, in Australia. My chunk. What color is mine? Mine is red here. Yeah, looks like I'm the red one. So I show up here a couple times. There are some visible bits. Enjoy lunch, Tom. Thanks for stopping by. Yes, Mac is something that we'd like to improve significantly. I don't own a Mac myself. I do have a Mac VM that I access when I need to. We're actually working on a permissions dialog for Mac. I might have the GIF for it here somewhere. Hold on. I'm looking for a dark box with a resizing window. Or you know what? Let's make it easy for myself. I'm making this little dialogue that will tell you what aspects you have allowed for OBS, so that you don't have to... Because essentially what happens is normally you have everything layered nicely, but sometimes the macOS permission dialog goes behind OBS, and then you don't know what permission it's asking for. And so ideally we'll have this show up when you first launch OBS to tell you, hey, here are the things you need to enable. Well, I mean, Mac OS isn't the only one moving to ARM. You do have Windows 10X, you have some Chromebooks, I think, that are on ARM. You've got the Raspberry Pi. And yeah, I've heard weird stuff with Big Sur, Dust. I've also I do know that OBS currently crashes on Big Sur when you add a browser source. No one has actually dug into that yet because Big Sur is in beta, and because it's in beta we don't particularly care too much, but the closer... We've had at least 3 reports of browser sources crashing OBS, or causing it to freeze at least. Someone actually created a bug report today from the OBS browser repo. But if it doesn't work, that's weird. My guess is because it's a framework that is within our package that might not be signed? I don't know. Issues. Yeah, see? Crashes on Big Sur. This one has a lot of info and no crash log, but we do have here and here. This one includes a crash log that mentions Org Chromium Content Shell Framework. In this case, it happens when it's trying to load the source for the first time. It hits a breakpoint. Are these two by the same user? Yeah, oh no, different users. And this one, yeah, they crash in the same initialization function. Oh, Tom, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the order, and Lemif. Good question. Is that in here? This one's this one just says 1016. I assume this build number might give us more info. So, okay, so that one's beta 1, okay. This one is also beta 1. This one doesn't have a crash report. I think this one mentioned that it hangs. Yeah. So at the very least, the 2 crash reports we do have are from beta 1. I'm also gonna get some more tunes. It's good to know that it doesn't crash in beta 4. That is helpful. Oh, that's good. Which beta build of Big Sur are you using? I have reports that beta 4 works fine. Would love confirmation. Potentially. Local browser sources are a pain. We actually override the sandbox, and we also override existing permissions that... I will amend my comment. We do some tweaks in terms of the sandbox and the protocols when working with local files, because Chromium is very particular about not allowing public pages to access local files and vice versa. So personally, I recommend using a Python web server if you need something small. See you, Kat. Thanks for following, and enjoy the rest of your day. And so there are definitely edge cases that we might not have considered, and in the case of Mac, it hasn't been extensively tested. Then that should be fine, theoretically. It's also challenging because it can load but not render, which is separate and frustrating. But that's all complicated browser stuff. We're running Chrome 83, I think. Hang on. No, Chrome 75 is what we're running in OBS. So that's also a possibility where it's not compatible with Chrome 75. My cat is being very picky. I will be right back. No, my cat has figured out that she can ask me stuff without actually meowing. So in this case, she will either attack my window from outside to request to be let in, even though she has a cat door she can use. Velasip, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the order. Hope your day's going well. She will attack the window if she's outside, and if she's inside but wants to get into my room, she will scratch at the corner of the door. She will also body slam the door if she thinks it will open, and because the door doesn't fully close properly, she has successfully body slammed the door and opened it and let herself in. And then when you open the door and let her in, she will either meow at you and turn around immediately to tell you either feed me or let me out, even though she has a cat door she can use, or she will run in and run up to the window. I don't know. Yeah, you can see I have the blinds slightly off the floor, and she will run in there and look out the window until she actually wants to go outside. That's good that it's working fine. One other thing is sometimes it'll fail to load, and what you can do is just click oh, hey, DJ Savto, didn't notice you were there. Sometimes you just have to click the refresh cache button at the bottom of the properties for the source, and that should help as well. So if I open the browser, the refresh cache button at the bottom. Right there. Now, of course, if you're a web dev, you can even launch OBS with the remote debugging port flag, and then open your DevTools. What port am I using here? 9998. And then you can actually see each of the pages that are loaded in OBS at the moment. And you can go, well, okay, I do know this one here is YouTube, and it'll actually give you a little preview here that you can interact with sometimes. And then you can go, well, okay, I don't want this thumbnail. So now that thumbnail is gone in the actual page. So if you need to debug stuff like with Chrome's console, it does give you that access, which is very handy, especially if certain pages and resources don't load, like this one. In this case, we can hit refresh here, which will reload the page, And then we can figure out, oh, it's trying to load an invalid Chrome extension twice as part of a desktop Polymer inline Polymer flags JS file, which is part of YouTube. So apparently they check for a Chrome extension. Who knew? You can do a lot of cool stuff. OBS supports all Chrome flags, and if it doesn't recognize them, it'll just pass them straight through to the browser, and you can do anything you want from there. There's so much that you don't know about OBS. There are so many little things that are designed to be useful to people that people don't even realize. The latest that people still don't know exists is custom browser docs. In this case, a web page directly in OBS. And that's how I have OBS set up at the moment, where I can actually show you, I think. Here. You can see which channels I'm streaming to. I have my music over here, my recent alerts, chat, all sorts of stuff. That is definitely something you can do with it. A lot of people, essentially what OBS Live is Stream Elements essentially forked the code for the browser and then manually added the docs. This was before we had custom docs, and they do their own other edits as well. To answer your question, Velisip, you can make any kinds of overlays using standard web technologies and put them into OBS as a single overlay. What some people do is they have the overlay itself in the page, and then they have a web control panel that allows them to control that overlay, which gives you even cooler, things you can do. Say, if you have a system that gives you like a subtrain that shows up along the bottom, having a button to cancel it, in that control page. The thing I'm working on at the moment, which I keep getting distracted from, is a dialogue when you stop recording to tell you, to give you the ability to open the file that you just recorded. Oh yeah, there's Casper CG. If you're watching SGDQ, which is live right now, I think, their entire overlay is 100% browser sources in OBS. Or like 90% browser sources. You've got this guy, and you've got SGDQ 2019 GitHub. Yeah, you can actually download the Games Done Quick layouts straight from... Oh, they use NodeCG. Straight from GitHub, and then experiment with it yourself. So they do like browser-based stuff that can be super advanced. You can have all sorts of images and stuff flying across the screen, pulling data from whatever you like. That's how... I mean, you could technically recreate the Overwatch League overlays where they kind of tell you, hey, here... Or even any esports game where they show an overlay of, here's the highest accuracy, here's the number of kills, all of that. That can be pulled into a browser source and displayed as you go. And a lot of games, like for example, let's do a practical example. CSGO API. Yeah. So you could technically use a third-party API and pull stuff like live stats and display them on your stream while you're live, which is fun stuff. This stuff gets super powerful once you have browsers. And that's why I personally try and make sure we have a lot of capabilities that we provide in the browser. So for example, in OBS 24? I want to say 24. We added the ability here to go control audio via OBS. And what that lets you do is now the browser shows up in here so that you can change the volume, you can choose in advanced audio properties which tracks your browser goes to, so if you don't want your alert notification sounds to go into your recording, but you do want them to go to stream, that's how you would customize that. And that's why my alerts currently have a double sound, which is not ideal, but I have to rebuild my local copy of OBS because it's a custom one. As you can tell by the version number. And it freezes on startup about 80% of the time, and I haven't tracked it down. So when we release our next version, I'm going to make a new custom build and hope that the crash goes away, or the freeze goes away, but I don't know what's causing it, so it makes it hard to track it down. But that's the life of, you know, running the bleeding edge with all your own tweaks. Now, at the very least, we have these guys, which I'm going to stage, and we also have, not part of the installer, this form. Ah, I see what I did wrong. I forgot to grab this guy and stick it in here. So the same text was showing up twice, and I was misunderstanding what I was looking at. So we're gonna quickly rebuild here. And what this should give us is a new option at the top of the settings that allows us to decide whether we want this dialogue showing up. And then as part of that, we need to read the setting. There are so many good series like that on YouTube. If you haven't seen it already, Epos Fox OBS Masterclass. It is a, like, 6 hours of, 5.5 hours. You can either watch the single video or he has it broken up into chunks in a playlist. Yep. That's how I roll. Bit of procrastination, well, a lot of procrastination, and then clarity. But yeah, he has a great masterclass where he covers all of this stuff, and on top of that, he will also do newer videos that are much shorter about little tips and tricks that he finds. But there are a number of good streamers out there that will give you that kind of info. I'm weird, and what I do is I actually pull up YouTube and then go OBS Studio. I will go filter by this week. And sometimes you'll find gems, and sometimes you'll find terrible videos. If we go last month. Oh, there you go. 5 advanced features you should be using in OBS Studio by Gaming Careers. Gaming Careers does good stuff as well. I've seen some good stuff from Content Academy. I've seen a number of good creators that just find something specific to talk about. Oh yeah, there are many. If you find a video that is titled Best Settings in OBS, don't watch that video. There are no best settings. It's entirely down to your setup, what you're doing, and what hardware you have. In my case, I have a bit more power than than most people. Oh, I did that again. My hotkeys are not working. Oh, because Task Manager is running as admin. That's why. My hardware is a little more powerful than some. But mine's overkill, so... Nerd or Die actually released a new, like, getting started video as well. I included an equals on the end, and so that text is wrong. Yes. Mr. Greggle stopped by the OBS booth at TwitchCon, and everyone was like, yeah, we know what you do. The Sushi Dragon is like that as well. You know, their setup is just insane. And I bet, Mr. Greggles, that the 40-part YouTube series doesn't even cover everything. I bet there is so much more that you could teach us. Okay. Show dialogue when recording is complete. Yeah, 40 parts on the basics. Sounds about right. I mean, you could do a 40-part series on all the great plugins made by people for OBS as well. And that's the challenge too. You can make a 40-part series you release this year, and then another one next year because there'll be all new stuff. Yeah, I know the Sushi Dragon, he did an interview with Jim and showed off a bit of his setup. He has 3 or 4 computers. One of them is just for media sources. Like, at that point you're like, is a consumer grade computer good enough, or do you need, 5 PCs? At that point, is consumer grade hardware good enough for you? Do we need to just give you, you know, a supercomputer with like a graphics card more powerful than anything? Is that where we're heading? Okay, so the checkbox exists. Now we just need to make sure that we read the setting and display the dialogue based on the setting. And with that, that'll mean that we need to... oh, I've duplicated the line. That explains it. Well, that's the thing. OBS is so... It's such a... What's the word I'm looking for? Blank canvas. That you can do whatever you want. You just need the power. And once you have the power... Yes. When buying my latest graphics card, I went from a 970 to a 1080 Ti. And I'm gonna probably go to a 3080 or 3090, whatever the next one is. That we'll find out at the end of the month. Because I haven't heard anything. Yep, all you need is unlimited power. And the rest is down to you. We have locale. It's in there, and we need to make sure we read the setting on startup, and we update the setting. No, actually, we don't need to read the setting on startup. Only when the dialogue is about to be opened. Which is easy, because what we do is we go into Window Basics main. That's auto remux. No, I'm looking for recording. What did I name this function? You guys are too distracting. I hope you're learning something. Show recorded dialogue. That's what I'm looking for. And in show recorded dialogue, we're going to read the system setting, which will be like so. We have window basic settings. We go get full basic settings, and this will tell us if we don't want to show it, then we don't show it. Okay, fingers crossed that I've done everything correctly and that we will be able to finish this task. I may have frozen Visual Studio. It's fine. We're learning things. That's all that matters, right? If we don't want the recording done dialogue. The challenge is going to be... I'm a new user, and I see this dialogue is very helpful. I'm an existing user who's upgrading, and now I see this dialogue and I don't want to see it. Will I know that A, it can be turned off, and B, that I know where to look to turn it off? And that B is the one I'm worried about. The problem is I hate that all of our dialogues tell you exactly where to go to change stuff. But the one dialogue that doesn't tell you, which is bandwidth test mode, people don't understand how to turn it off. Yes, don't show this is probably the way I'm going to have to go. That is an option. And then, should I respect that checkbox regardless of which button is pressed? Or only when close is pressed? That's a good idea, though. I will document that. Buttons. Okay. To do checkbox. Don't show again. Which we have. Do not show again. Which we already use in show replay buffer warning. Message box, set checkbox. Okay, let's see if that worked. The other aspect is the information that's in that in that dialogue at the moment. Is that enough? Does it need to be a little more wordy? Oh, I didn't like that. Oh, it didn't like message box because it's not message box. It's this uses Qt or cute. Cute's the proper name for it. I'll paste that in there for you. It is cross-platform. It is actively maintained. It is free when used in open source. It also has a lot of documentation and a lot you need to know. And it's broken up into many components so that you only grab the bits that you need. Yeah, I know TeamViewer use it. Apparently the Dolphin emulator uses it. That's actually true. Note Edit uses it. Font Matrix. KeyPass uses it. I'm skimming this, trying to find names I recognize. Yeah. VirtualBox, yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Okay. Is this checkbox going to work the way I hope it did? Yes. Okay, so if I don't check it, and click close and do it again... Okay, so if... It would be a good idea to check if it's checked, not whether it exists, right? That is usually a good place to start. I'm too used to JavaScript where that can fly. It does not fly here. Now, the other thing that we do in other dialogues where you can choose not to show it again is it then shows another dialogue that says, here's where you can change it. But what I might do instead is... I will have a tooltip that will tell you where you can go. Recording... Yes. It is the state of the checkbox is tied to general output, show dialog when recording is complete. Basic mode, settings dialog, alt menu. Basic mode. So even here, 6 years ago, Jim knew that at some stage he wanted to make an advanced mode in OBS. That's why everything is prefixed with basic. And then you've got basic advanced audio. File, edit, profile scene collection menus. Replay buffer. Output of replay buffer. Yeah, okay. Aha! Because I am calling it finished in other places, right? Right? Done. Not complete, done. Man, it does not feel like 9 o'clock, it feels like 12. Hair recording, yes. So this becomes a Q-stir, which is our own little internal Q-stir, which is a macro to check our translation file. Still can't get it right. But yeah, my left eye is having issues focusing. So hopefully you don't notice that. Maybe I need the text to be bigger. Yes, Dust. Sorry, I was distracted. Yes, It's one of those things where you originally planned to go let's make a basic and advanced mode, and then you just have so much to do all the time that making a basic mode is not possible. Or making an advanced mode is not possible because you're so busy doing stuff for the basic mode. And that is a very good example of how OBS has been for the past couple of years. People just need OBS to do more stuff. If I were to pull up ideas.obsproject.com and I were to go most wanted, any tag, undo, multi-streaming, plugin manager, multiple video outputs, game overlay, source-specific transitions, sending video to other apps, screenshot button, media controls, per scene filters on sources. All of these are big things, and they're all complicated. Complicated to do, take time to implement, and something like undo, for example, you need someone who knows OBS well enough to know all the potential pitfalls, knows Qt well enough to be able to handle all of those events on top of the OBS backend. And so you've got poor Jim being like, okay, well, everyone is now working from home and needs a virtual camera, so I'll do that. And the poor guy can never get a break. The rest of it, like, let me pull up something that I check every now and then, right? Where I'm like, insights, 1 month. In 1 month, he's merged 37 pull requests and 18 new ones have cropped up. There are currently 77 in the backlog. And since since 2508, he's merged, I think, 187 pull requests. So not only is he reviewing pull requests, merging them, writing features himself, I'd be stressed all the time. But he does an awesome job, which is great. So what we're going to do is... we have open file, which I added 6 days ago, which is great. And we're going to do open folder. Well, like, one of the things that we really, really want to do on Mac is custom browser docs. Unfortunately, Mac does weird things with the title bar when you have Qt, and I don't know if there's something we can do about it, but basically, Command C and V, copy and paste, the way macOS does it is it does it from the menu rather than what you're actually doing. And so when you try and copy stuff from a browser dock, it doesn't actually copy it from the dock. It just triggers a copy anywhere else in OBS, the last focused place. So it's complicated. Okay. We have open folder. I'm adding translation strings, which means we're getting close to the end here. Done dialogue. I am going to do output. Yes, and the pull request is basically good to go, but remember, Jim has merged so much, and the more you have in a beta, the harder it is to make sure everything gets tested properly. So smaller, more frequent releases would be nice, but again, one full-time guy can't catch a break. Done dialogue. Yeah, there are two places you want to check. The most wanted section and the most discussed section on the ideas site. And the other place you want to go is... I think this is public. I'm going to make sure it's public before I share this. Yeah, there's a project section and there's a task list. And what you can do here is go and not yet started and see if there's anything that you feel you could work on. So user-defined shader support, VST3 support, a transitions UI revamp. Now a lot of these would do well to have an RFC, a request for comments, which we have in RFCs, I think. OBS project/RFCs. And in here, we have a few that we're kind of still discussing, like changing the default theme, or changing how image slideshows work. Kiwakoto27, welcome to the order, thanks for the follow, hope your day's going well, and I hope you're learning something. Yes, testing on Mac absolutely would be useful. We do have a relatively new macOS build script, which downloads all the dependencies for you and puts everything together. So having more people test that script would be great. The challenges you will run into at the moment if you use Xcode or you don't use that script, because if the macOS app isn't bundled, then trying to load the browser will definitely crash the test builds. That is a fun fact. Because everything is strung together. But yes, and any testing on Mac is good, especially with latest builds and stuff. Okay, so I think I have finished this. Fingers crossed. Nope. There are all sorts of weird protective things. I did it again, didn't I? Yes, I did. Okay. You Alexido, welcome. I hope Spain's good. I hope the weather's nice. Hope your day's going well. Yes. I'm a JavaScript developer, shush! The sad part about that is I have ESLint set up to always make sure I put the semicolon on the end. And I still forget to. It's frustrating. Okay, so step one, we make sure that the setting is enabled. We hit start recording. We move stuff around a bit. We hit stop. The tooltip wax! If something did happen, hopefully it was just during build, and hopefully it's fine now, but let me know if it's still bad. Still bad? How about now? Ha. I have a Stream Deck button specific to that. My Adobe Audition button. Okay, so we leave this unchecked and click close, and this should still be enabled. And then we go again. Move stuff around. Stop recording. Click don't show. And hit close. So now, yes. And the next time we try it. And we hit stop. No dialogue. We did it. Job done. 2 hours in, we did it. So I will get rid of the... Now, I have to make sure that this follows the requirements for a commit. And we did it. I will be able to submit a pull request with this feature. So this should be less than 50 characters. Sweet. We have open folder. Recording saved. Saved successfully. So if remuxing, go do auto remux. If not remuxing, throw the dialogue directly. I do like that Qt adds a set checkbox thing. I didn't have to do anything custom. Default button is open file, escape button is close. I get Halo vibes from it, but it's an approaching Nirvana track. Approaching Nirvana does good stuff. I'm not... Oh. I can get rid of this to-do now. May as well be more consistent in my naming. Hi War Cookie, welcome. Hope your day's going well. So here's the bit where we do the cool stuff. We amend this commit, we push it up to line, force push. Here's the fun part. GitHub's really cool in the sense that The check happens the moment the dialogue is attempting to load. So if you change the setting mid-recording, it will respect the new setting. Yeah. So I will do one final pass in here. So we've got a new open folder translation. I think that's new. Yep, we don't have any others. Done dialogue. Tooltip. Show dialogue when recording is complete. Recording done dialogue. In the settings. Default to true. My cat is requesting to come in again. We're using translations for the window title, for the window body, for each of the 3 buttons, the do not show message, and its tooltip. If we tell it not to show, we set it to false. The user clicks on open file, we open the file. If we tell them to open the folder, we open the folder. Okay. Settings. We read from there. We set it based on the checkbox, and in Remux we grab the out file as well. Okay. The only thing I'm not sold on is I think I might move this to the other file. Let's do that. Because we only need it in here. And if we don't need to fetch it... War Cookie, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the order. Hope your day's going well. Alright, let's make that tweak. Move it from there to there. We force push that code up to my repository. And then we write our reasoning. Yep, my code has been run through Clang format. I've read the contributing guidelines. It's not on the master branch. I've tested the code for sure. I've formatted the just all in UI. That's fine. And I've included document. There's no documentation changes, so we're fine. We're going to pull up ShareX. I have the screenshot saved, and we will. Please, we do. No, we don't. We only release every 3 months. Fine. When new users complete their first recording, they usually aren't sure where to find their recordings. This provides an easy way to find them. In terms of issues, you can find them on GitHub. There's just a whole issues list that you can go through. A few of them are marked as good first issue, and then others where we just haven't dug into them. So you're welcome to go through there. In terms of feature requests, ideas.obsproject.com is your best bet, but there's also a project dashboard in the OBS project org on GitHub, where you can find more complicated features that we are more interested in adding ourselves rather than the big ones that people are requesting. Because sometimes those two match up perfectly, like, you know, everyone wants OBS to provide a virtual webcam officially. In terms of this specific feature, not really. I could take a bunch of screenshots from the support channel. This is a very common question in... Oh, actually... You know what? This screenshot covers exactly what we're looking for. The recordings command on the Discord. OBS Studio recordings can be found by selecting File Show Recordings, and it has been used 1,485 times. I think that's good, good motivation. Sure. Well, it's two-parter, yes. Some people will ask it, others will spend 10 minutes trying to figure out where the recordings go. So you have to cover all your bases. Oh, this is a new feature. Nope, I did it again. It's one of those little things that I get the opportunity to make, because no one else... like, everyone else has their own cool features that they're working on. I've got a nice long list of my own. But these are ones where I can spend a couple days just putting something together. Looking for the enhancement tag. New feature... Cool. Adds a dialogue when a recording is complete with links to the file and recording directory. No link in context. Not yet. And I broke the last one here because of spaces. Well, thanks for the help in putting this together. I'm glad we got it done. I'm going to quickly create this. It's one of those things where I would really hate to have like a really inappropriate typo or an image embedded, but everything looks okay, so I'm gonna hit create and hope for the best. You'd be surprised, Sonic. Also, hi. The videos folder is fine. I mean, do you customize where your Overwatch recordings go? Do you customize where your screenshots go when you hit Win Shift S? This guy. Right? Just quickly checking the Discord, making sure I haven't missed anything. Okay. Ah, but you would have customized where Lightshot saves too. I customized where... Actually, no, I didn't customize where ShareX stores everything. Cool. That's done. What other exciting things could we work on? I can't really work on macOS permission checks. Preview cursors bug me to no hell. Okay, let me show you guys what this particular branch is about, and I might rebase this one just because. That's where it gets really complicated, Dust. It's requested a lot, firstly. Second... Uh-oh. OBS. No. Are we back to normal? Okay, I think we're back to normal.